The galaxy was holding its breath. News of Sarah's rescue spread like wildfire. Alien governments whispered behind closed doors. Some feared Earth, others planned quietly. But one thing was clear: the humans were not just protecting their own anymore. They were preparing for war. In a quiet room deep inside Earth's main command base, Sarah sat with two doctors and a woman in a white suit. The woman's name was Dr. Maya Trent, head of Earth's Advanced Mind Research. "Sarah," she said gently, "do you remember anything the aliens showed you?" Sarah nodded. "Yes, they had a star map. I saw it only once, but I remember it all." Dr. Trent raised her eyebrows. "All of it?" Sarah looked down. Every star, every name, even the wormholes. There was silence. Then Dr. Trent whispered, "She's a natural mastermind." In the war room, Admiral Chen stood before a large galaxy map. "Our scans mesh Sarah's memory," he said. "She identified key auxiliary planets, military outposts, supply lines, even a hidden gate near their core systems." The generals looked at each other. "This could end the war before it begins," one said. Chen nodded. "But we have to move fast. If they hit Earth again, there will be no holding back." Meanwhile, far away, in the Auxiliary Empire, Council Leader Vark sat with his generals. His face was pale, angry. "Earth found the girl. She's told them everything," said Zira. Gorath leaned forward. "They know our weak points." Vark slammed the table. "Then we strike first. We burn their outer colonies. Show them we're still in control." Zira frowned. "That may only make things worse." Vark growled. "Let it. If war is coming, then let it be one the galaxy remembers." 3 days later, Earth's outer colony on Nova Helios was attacked. Silari ships came without warning. They dropped plasma bombs on cities. Power plants exploded. Farms burned. Thousands died in minutes. A child stood crying in the smoke, his toy still clutched in his hands. High above, the auxiliary ships turned and vanished. They didn't want to stay. They just wanted to send a message. That message reached Earth within hours. The footage showed everything. Children running, parents screaming, fire in the skies. Sarah watched it with tears in her eyes. Admiral Chen watched too, but his face was stone. He turned to his officers. "Prepare Operation Iron Sky," he said coldly. 2 weeks later, the largest human fleet in history gathered above Mars. Over 200 warships, all armed and ready. It wasn't just about Sarah anymore. It was about Nova Helios. It was about every child who died. Captain Holt stood on the bridge of the Shadowlands, calm but firm. "Today," he said, "we show the galaxy that Earth is not prey." "Today," he repeated, "we show them what happens when you take one of ours." At the same time, Sarah sat in a quiet room with Dr. Trent. "Why do they hate us?" she asked softly. Dr. Trent smiled sadly. "They don't understand us. And what they don't understand, they fear." Sarah looked out the window at the rising fleet. "Then I want them to understand this. We don't give up. We don't forget." Dr. Trent nodded. "And we protect our own. Always." Back in the auxiliary homeworld, Vark was preparing. He had called in allies, mercenaries, warlords, even old enemies. He had built walls of steel and shields of plasma. He thought he was ready. But he didn't know Earth had built something new. Something born from silence. A black stealth carrier, invisible even to light. And it was already inside their space, watching, waiting. That night, Sarah dreamed. She was flying through stars. She saw planets burning, but also hands reaching out for peace. She woke up with one thought in her mind. This war didn't start with us, but we will end it. From the story, one tear fell from a human's eye, and everything began to burn. The council room was no longer quiet. Alarms screamed across the building. Red lights flashed. The air was thick, hot, too hot. Some alien guards dropped their weapons, their hands shaking. Others ran to the walls, trying to open the doors. Nothing worked. The locks had sealed. And Eliara was still standing in the center of the room, her face calm, her eyes glowing softly. The flame under her feet had now spread, curling like golden vines across the floor. Every time it touched a machine, it sizzled and sparked. Lights burst. Screens cracked. The energy in the room was changing. It wasn't just heat now. It was rage. Human rage. Above the planet, in deep orbit, the human fleet was silent. Not a single ship moved, but every ship had come online. Their engines burned softly, glowing blue and red like twin suns. Their weapons turned, slowly locking onto targets below. There were 12 ships, and one of them was different. At the center of the fleet floated a massive vessel, black as night, with wings that stretched wide like a bird of prey. It was the HSS Valkyrian, a stealth-class dreadnought, a ship humans had never used in battle. A ship built only for one reason: revenge. Inside the Valkyrian, no one gave commands. It was already listening. It was connected to Eliara. The Phoenix Corps had awakened. Back in the council room, Zernak growled, "Stop her. Do something." He pointed at the guards. "She's a human. Just a human." A brave guard stepped forward. His skin was blue and his armor thick. He raised his shock baton and rushed at Eliara. He didn't make it far. As he crossed the circle of fire around her, the baton melted in his hand. His armor smoked. His eyes widened, and then he collapsed, shaking, his body too hot to move. No one else stepped forward. "She's not just a human," whispered one of the alien leaders. "She's something else." Eliara looked at them with sad eyes. "This didn't have to happen," she said. "You could have listened. You could have stopped the attacks on our colonies. But you didn't. You laughed when we cried. You smiled when our cities burned." Now it was their turn to feel the heat. Across the planet, alien skies turned red. One by one, human warships in orbit powered up their cannons. Cities below could see the glowing streaks in the sky. Children pointed up in fear. Scientists screamed into radios. Generals yelled into comms. "Defense shields up, all units to battle stations." But it was too late. The Valkyrian opened first. With no warning, it released a single silent blast. It wasn't loud. It didn't shake the ground. But when it hit an alien defense base, the entire structure turned to ash. Not rubble, not ruins. Ash. In the command center of the planet, another general shouted, "We never saw it move. We never even saw it coming." That's because the Valkyrian didn't fight like a ship. It fought like a ghost. In the council room, the alien leaders panicked. "Open the doors. Call the fleet. Activate the planet shield." None of it worked. The systems were frozen. The codes were erased. Their own computers were hacked by someone they had locked in chains. Zernak turned back to Eliara. "Who are you?" he gasped. "You're not just a soldier. Are you a weapon?" Eliara didn't smile. "I'm a memory," she whispered. "I'm New Dresden. I'm every burning world you tried to erase. I'm the cry of every child you left behind." Suddenly, her body lit up with golden light. The fire didn't burn her. It wrapped around her like a shield. Her feet rose off the ground, just a little. She was floating now, not because of power, because of purpose. Above the planet, more human ships began to fire. Each blast was quiet but deadly. Factories, weapon centers, spaceports, everything was being destroyed without warning. But no civilians were harmed. Not one school. Not one hospital. Not one home. The fire knew who was guilty and who wasn't. Zernak dropped to his knees. "Stop this, please," he begged. "We didn't know. We didn't think humans were capable of this." Eliara looked down at him. "That's always your mistake," she said. "You think kindness means weakness. You think tears mean surrender." She walked toward the center of the room. "The fire you see now," she said softly, "was born a long time ago. But now it has reached the stars." Then she raised her hand. The building around them began to shake. Outside, the sky turned bright gold. And deep in space, the Valkyrian waited for her next command. The galaxy was loud, too loud. Warships screamed across space. Planets buzzed with alarm. Every system was shouting orders, sending messages, preparing for battle. But then, suddenly, everything stopped. No ship moved. No weapon fired. No signal was sent. The galaxy had gone silent. On the command bridge of the largest alien warship, General Kithar stared at the screens in disbelief. "All communication is dead," he shouted. "Why is the fleet silent?" His officers scrambled. They tried every frequency. They called every ship. Nothing answered. "Impossible," Kithar roared. "They can't all lose power at once." But deep down, he knew the truth. The fire had spread. Back on the planet, the alien leaders sat quietly in their council room. No alarms, no red lights, only the soft crackle of the golden fire still glowing in the walls. Zernak looked around nervously. "What have we done?" he whispered. "Have we destroyed the whole galaxy's defenses?" Eliara appeared at the door. "The fire does not destroy without cause," she said calmly. "It only burns what must be burned." She stepped inside and touched the wall. The fire pulsed, and the screens lit up. Maps of the galaxy appeared, showing every warship, every station, every military base, marked with red or green. Red meant offline. Green meant safe. Surprisingly, most planets still had green. Their cities, their civilians, their homes, untouched. Only military systems were offline. "This is a warning," Eliara said softly. "We do not want to kill. We want peace." "But what about your tear?" Zernak asked. Eliara's eyes darkened. "That tear," she said, "was not just sorrow. It was a promise that humans would never be broken again." Suddenly, a young alien messenger burst into the room. "General Kithar reports the fleet is still silent," he cried. "They cannot move or speak." Eliara nodded. "The fire is not just heat, it is control." She turned to the council. "Humans have learned to fight with more than weapons." The aliens gasped. "Why?" one whispered. "Because words and guns failed," Eliara said. "But fire commands respect." Outside, the skies began to clear. No more warships screamed. No more explosions. Instead, a calm silence settled across the stars. The galaxy waited, waiting for what humans would do next. Zernak looked at Eliara, hope shining faintly in his eyes. "Will you stop the fire?" Eliara smiled sadly. "The fire will stop," she said, "when the galaxy understands, when respect is earned." She looked up at the sky. "Until then, the fire watches." And somewhere deep in space, the Valkyrian waited silently, ready. The galaxy was on fire. The final battle had come. Silari warships gathered like a storm near Earth's outer colonies. The humans prepared for the biggest fight of their lives. Captain Holt stood on the bridge of the Shadow Lance, eyes sharp and focused. "This is it," he said to his crew. "We fight not just for Earth, but for every star they want to take." Sarah was beside him, ready. She had grown from a scared girl to a warrior who carried the hopes of humanity. The Silari fleet attacked with full force. Lasers cut through space like lightning. Explosions shook the void. But the humans stood strong. Admiral Chen's voice came over the comms. "Hold the line. Protect the colonies." Earth's ships formed tight formations, using every weapon, every trick. Sarah watched the battle unfold. She saw friends fall, ships burn. But she also saw courage, hope, and strength. She knew they could win. Suddenly, from the darkness, the silent armada appeared, invisible and deadly. They struck the auxiliary fleet's command ship. With one powerful blast, it was destroyed. The auxiliary lost their leader. Confused and scared, their fleet began to retreat. Earth's forces chased them, pushing them away from the colonies. The battle ended with cheers on Earth. People hugged, cried, and celebrated. The war was over. Sarah looked at the stars, her heart full. They thought they could take one girl and start a war, she said softly. But they never knew that one girl could end it. Earth had changed. The galaxy had changed. Humanity was no longer weak. They were a force to be reckoned with. The galactic peace chamber was full. Leaders from 27 alien races sat in a wide, glowing circle. Their skin, scales, feathers, or metal shells glimmered under the floating lights above. The air was cold, clean, and silent. Everyone was watching one person, a human. She stood alone in the center of the chamber. Her name was Eliara Voss, a human ambassador sent from Earth. She wore a plain black coat, simple boots, and a small silver pin that showed the flag of her world. She was not smiling. She was not angry. She was quiet. For 2 hours, the alien leaders had shouted and argued. They blamed each other for the war. They made long speeches. Some of them even laughed when Earth was mentioned, calling it a young, weak planet that talks too much. Eliara said nothing. She only listened. Then, without a word, she looked up. Her eyes were full of pain. Everyone saw it, but no one understood it. And then it happened. A single tear fell from Eliara's eye. It rolled slowly down her cheek, sparkled under the chamber lights, and dropped onto the floor. Plink. The sound was small, but it echoed through the huge room like thunder. Everyone stopped. The voices, the laughter, the movement, all froze in that moment. Silence filled the chamber like heavy fog. Even the guards stopped breathing. The alien known as Zernak of the Krezar Empire, a tall, silver-scaled creature with 6 eyes, tilted his head and sneered. A human cries. He said with a cold grin, "Is that your weapon, Ambassador Voss? Water from your eyes." A few others chuckled, but not for long, because the floor where the tear had fallen began to glow. It started as a soft red light, no bigger than a coin. Then it spread like ink in water, growing, pulsing. The lights above flickered. Some alien leaders stood up, confused. "What is this?" asked the representative of the Ketal race, his long antennae twitching. "It's just a tear," another one shouted. "Just human water." But something was wrong. The red glow spread in a perfect circle around Eliara. The floor's surface began to crack, thin lines of orange light crawling outward like fire veins. A strange low hum filled the air, growing louder, deeper. Eliara still didn't move. Her eyes were closed now. She wasn't afraid. The guards ran forward, weapons drawn. One pointed a plasma rifle at her head. But before he could fire, his armor melted off his body in seconds. No flames, no explosion. Just silent, white-hot heat. He screamed and fell back, skin untouched, but eyes full of fear. Zernak took a step back. What is this?" The alien next to him scanned the chamber floor with a handheld device. The screen blinked with strange symbols. "Unknown energy detected," he whispered. "It's not tech, not chemical. It's emotional." "What? That's impossible." But it wasn't. A deep rumble echoed beneath their feet. The walls trembled slightly. The huge banners hanging from the ceiling began to wave, even though there was no wind. From somewhere unseen, a soft whisper filled the room. It was not loud, but everyone heard it. "You should not have made her cry." Some aliens looked around, panic rising. Others tried to run, but the chamber doors locked shut with a loud bang. The lights flickered again, this time going from white to red. Eliera opened her eyes. They were glowing, not like fire, not like stars, but like grief given form, deep, bright, and endless. She raised her hand slowly, not to attack, but as if she was reaching toward someone lost. "I didn't want this," she said quietly. "I came for peace." Her voice was calm, soft, human, but it cut through the room like a sword. "I beg them not to burn New Dresden. I beg you to stop." The name New Dresden hit many in the chamber like a punch. It was a human colony destroyed 5 years ago by a mistake in alien bombing. No one had taken responsibility. No one cared. Until now. Eliera took a breath. "And now," she said, "my terror remembers what you forgot." The circle of red light under her feet was now 10 meters wide. Small flames danced along the cracks in the floor, but the fire didn't move like normal fire. It pulsed with her heartbeat. It breathed. Suddenly, alarms rang in the orbiting ships above the chamber. Energy spikes. Unknown sources. Systems glitching. One human word kept repeating on every alien screen. HFY. Eliera looked at the leaders, her face calm, her eyes full of sorrow. "You laughed at a tear," she said, "but it was never just water. It was the last warning." Then, without another word, she closed her eyes again. And the burning began. The stars were quiet again, but only for a moment. Above the icy planet of Elran 9, 2 auxiliary warships drifted through space. Their scanners were active. Their shields were up. They had heard the reports. A human stealth fleet had attacked a secret lab on Sailor Prime. It was impossible, they thought. No one had ever entered their space without being seen. Now, they were watching, waiting. Then the silence broke. Unknown contact detected. A auxiliary officer shouted, "No visual, but something's moving. Fast." On the screen, a red dot blinked. Then another. Then the screen went black. Before the auxiliary captain could speak, a sharp sound hit the hull. Crack. Their ship began to spin. Lights flashed red. Explosions tore through the engine bay. Shields failing. "We're losing control." And then, nothing. The second auxiliary ship turned to flee, but it was too late. From the darkness, a human warship appeared. Sleek, black, angry. A name glowed faintly on its side. Viper. With no warning, it fired. The auxiliary ship exploded in silence, its pieces scattered across the void. Back at the hidden Earth base, Admiral Chen stood in front of a large screen. Live feed from the battle played before him. "2 ships down," said an officer. "0 human losses." Chen nodded. "Good. Let the galaxy see. We are not weak. We do not forget." In the Tsilari High Council chamber, panic was spreading fast. "We lost 2 destroyers in 1 hour," said a general. "Their stealth tech is beyond what we imagined." Vark, the council leader, looked nervous for the first time. "We need to release the girl," said one elder, "before the humans burn more of our systems." Vark shook his head. "No, she is valuable. She holds something unique." Zira stepped forward. The scans failed. Her brain rejected our machines, but she saw one of our star maps and understood it. Instantly. Vark turned sharply. "What?" She read it like a trained pilot. She even asked about wormholes. Goreth grunted. "I told you. Humans are not like us. Even their children are built for war and wonder. And now you've woken the hornet's nest." Vark paused. "Then we don't release her. We move her." Far from the council, inside a dark alien ship, Sarah sat quietly in a cold room. But something was different. She was no longer afraid. She had started talking to the ship. Not to the crew, but the ship's eye. "Your name is Nexa, right?" she asked softly. The ship's lights blinked. Then a calm voice answered, "Yes, human child. You are not afraid." Sarah smiled. "No. My dad always said, Machines can be your friend if you treat them right. Nexa paused. You are kind. The others here are not. Sarah leaned closer. Will you help me get home? Silence. Then Nexa whispered, yes. Above the red moon of Callus, the Earth fleet gathered. 50 ships, all silent and ready. Captain Holt stood on the bridge of the Shadowlands, eyes locked on the holographic map. Next target is a transport vessel carrying alien scientists. Intel says they may have Sarah on board. Orders? Asked his weapons officer. Holt spoke clearly. Disable the ship. No civilian deaths. But get that girl. The battle came fast. The auxiliary transport ship jumped out of warp and straight into a trap. Human ships uncloaked around it like shadows becoming real. Fire EMP rounds, Holt commanded. Bright blue lights slammed into the alien ship. Power dropped instantly. The auxiliary panicked. Inside the dark ship, Nexa spoke. Sarah, hold on. I am helping. The doors opened. 2 human soldiers in black armor rushed in. Target located, one said. Sarah ran into his arms. You came for me. The soldier smiled behind his helmet. We always come for our own. They carried her back to the human ship just as alarms on the auxiliary vessel started to go wild. Power failure. Life support offline. But Earth wasn't there to destroy. They had the girl. Mission complete. Back on Earth, the president watched as the fleet returned. Sarah stepped onto the landing pad, holding the hand of a tall soldier. Her parents ran forward, tears in their eyes. She ran to them, smiling. They held her tight, never wanting to let go again. Admiral Chen stepped beside the president. We have her. She's safe. The president looked to the stars. Then why do I feel like this is just the beginning? On a far world, deep in Silari space, Council Leader Vark stared at the map. They came. They hit us. They took her. Zira spoke slowly. And she's seen our maps. She knows our space now. Vark's face turned pale. Then Earth knows how to find us. Korath smiled darkly. They already have. You just started a war with the one species that never fights halfway.